Hello there and welcome back to Brainify TECH. In this tutorial we're going to take a look at Excel functions for beginners. If you're just starting out with Excel functions, then this video will give you a solid and complete understanding of what they're all about and how to use them. We're also going to throw in some tips and tricks along the way for good measure. If you haven't watched our tutorial on Excel formulas for beginners, then I highly recommend watching that first to springboard your understanding into this functions tutorial. I'll leave a link to the Excel formulas video tutorial in the description below. So let's crack on. Before we begin, let's take a look at this graphic snapshot to make sure we're all on the same page about formulas and functions, in case there's any confusion about how formulas and functions relate to each other. Functions are a type of formula. There are four main types of formulas. The first one is a simple formula, and we walk through these in our tutorial on Excel formulas, so check out the link in the description below if you missed that video. Next, we have simple functions and nested functions. These are the two that we'll take a look at in this tutorial. The last type of formula, the hybrid formula as I like to think of it, is just a combination of the others. So if you understand the other formula types, then you'll automatically understand hybrid formulas. So what exactly is a function? A function is a predefined formula in a predefined format that performs one specific calculation. For example, the sum function only adds up a defined set of numbers. The count function only counts numbers in a defined set of data, and the average function only calculates an average from a defined set of numbers. In a way, functions are like formula templates built into Excel, where you just select the one that you want and then fill in the blanks. Once you start using Excel, you'll discover that functions allow you to perform calculations and make sense of your data really quickly and easily. Having said that, when you first start working with functions, they can seem a bit daunting, but armed with the knowledge in this tutorial and our specific function tutorials, together with a bit of practice, you'll soon master them, so fear not. Before you dive into creating functions, you need to understand the structure of a function. As we already know, syntax is just the text and rules that you type in to define your function. We have a sum function in column D that adds up all of the red values in columns A to C. If we double click on cell D2, we can see the complete syntax for this function. The syntax after the equal sign is known as an expression. An expression is just a statement that returns a value. Like all formulas, you must always start your function syntax with an equal sign. Technically, the equal sign is not actually part of the function expression, but is a required character that Excel needs to know to calculate the stuff that follows it, instead of just displaying it as a text string. The equal sign is followed by the function name. Excel automatically capitalizes all function names to differentiate them. Arguments are the input values that are needed to perform the calculation. The function arguments are wrapped in parentheses and each argument is separated with a comma. We said before that functions are like built-in Excel templates. These templates have been set up in a way that need you to input specific arguments in a specific order, so that Excel knows exactly which arguments to use in which order, so that it can step through and perform the calculation correctly. So, how many built-in functions does Excel have? Currently, there are just under 500 functions available in Excel, although this number varies as functions are retired and new functions added. Don't be put off by this number. In reality, you'll only probably need to use a small fraction of these. If you want to see the full list of functions available in Excel, then check out the links in the description below to the official Microsoft pages, which list all the Excel functions in alphabetical and category order. All the Excel functions can be accessed by clicking on the Formulas ribbon tab and then navigating to the Function Library panel. Excel divides its functions into 12 categories on the Function Library panel, such as financial, logical, and text. If you already know which category of function you're looking for, then you can just drop down that category list and select your function from there. The AutoSum and recently used commands on the left hand side of the panel are there for quick access to some of your frequently used functions. Not all categories of functions fit and are shown on the function library panel. You can access the remaining categories by clicking on the More Functions drop down and navigating to your required category and function from there. For those of you that use database functions, then you should note that this category group is not shown. The only way you can access the database functions are by directly typing into a cell or by opening the Insert Function dialog box. Maybe Microsoft will add the database category to the panel in the future. Let's move on to inserting a function. We're back to our student marked worksheet, but this time we need to add 3 different functions into columns E, F and G. Column E is a simple total to add up all 3 subject marks that each student got. Column F calculates a mean average of the 3 subject marks that each student got. Column G displays the text pass or fail depending on each student's average mark. An average mark of less than 8 is a fail and an average mark of 8 or more is a pass. There are 3 main ways to insert a function, so we'll use each method to insert each of the 3 functions into columns E, F and G. Let's start off by inserting a sum function into E2 to calculate the total. Select E2 and start typing equals sum. You'll see an input sensitive function name list box appear below the cell. Double click on the sum function name from the list. The opening parenthesis is automatically inserted, ready for us to insert the argument. The inline argument builder stays visible to help you build your function. We want to add up all the numbers in the range B2 to D2, so let's select B2 to D2 and press enter. Excel automatically inserts the closing parenthesis for us. The correct total of 24 is displayed. We can double click back into E2 to take a quick look at the completed function expression. Let's press the escape key to exit cell edit mode. Let's copy the function down to the rest of the cells in column E by double clicking on the fill handle. Okay, so that's the totals done. Easy. Let's move on to the average in column F. Select cell F2 where we want to insert the function and click the Formulas ribbon tab. And then in the function library panel, click the Insert Function command on the left hand side of the panel. The Insert Function dialog box opens. From this dialog box, if you know the function name, then just type it into the top search box and click the Go button, and the function name will be displayed in the function selection box below. If you're not too sure what the name of the function you want is, you can narrow down your function search by dropping down the category selection list box and select a function category from here. Notice from here you can now select the database category. If you want to see all the available functions, then just select all. Once you select any function in the selection list box, then helpful details about it will appear below the box, including the function syntax and a brief description. We know we need to use the average function, so let's type that in the search box and click Go. Select it from the selection list box below and click OK. The function arguments dialog box pops up for us to define our function arguments. Each separate input box defines a separate argument, and they get automatically separated by commas in the expression, indicating separate arguments. In the number 1 box at the top, Excel has tried to predict what cell range we want to use for our average calculation, and it's usually pretty good at making the correct prediction, but unfortunately this time it's got it wrong. We want to use the range B2 to D2 and not B2 to E2. We can either type that range into the top input box or delete the range it was automatically input and select B2 to D2 on our worksheet with our mouse. We could also have clicked the small up arrow on the right of the number 1 input box and then selected the cell range, but that's an extra step. Notice that Excel displays helpful verification of the actual values of your selection next to the input box. The correct cell range has now been added. We don't have any more arguments to input, so let's click OK. You can see the correct average of 8 is displayed in F2, and the correct syntax is shown in the formula box on the formula bar. Double click the fill handle to copy the function down to the cells below in column F. Now on to column G. We're going to use an if function to display the text string of fail if the average mark is less than 8. Otherwise we're going to display pass, which by default will include average marks of 8 or more. The third way to insert a function, or really the second way to open the insert function dialog box, is to select the cell where we want to insert the function, cell G2, and click the insert function icon on the formula bar. Select if from the function selection box and click OK. In the logical test input box, we'll define the fail criteria average mark of less than 8. So we type in F2 is less than 8. Tab to the next input box. If the condition above is true, i.e. less than 8, then we want to display the text fail. Just type in the word fail and then tab to the next input box. Notice that Excel has automatically wrapped the fail word above in double quotes to indicate that it's a text string. This saves us the hassle of doing it, which is handy. In the last box, we want to display pass for all other values, i.e. 8 or above by default, and then press OK. As you can see, Dave scored an average of 8, which is a pass, which is the text displayed in G2. The function syntax is shown in the formula box. Let's copy the function to the other cells in column G by double clicking the fill handle. OK, so now we've inserted a simple function. Let's take a look at inserting a nested function. Nesting just means joining more than one function together in a single formula. Let's go back to our student marks, but this time we want to add in letter grades based on each student's average mark. If a student got an average mark of 8 or more, then they get an A grade, 7 or more a B grade, 6 or more a C grade, otherwise they get an F grade. We can still use the if function, but a single if function only allows for 2 values to be returned. But in this case we need 4 possible results, grades A, B, C and F. So we'll need to nest several if functions together. When you move into nested functions, you're going to have to enter the syntax manually directly into the cell, as they're just too complicated for using the limited insert function route. When we build nested if functions, you always need to start at either the highest or lowest level and work your way through. So start with the A grade and work your way to the F grade, or start with the F grade and work your way to the A grade. We'll just start with the A grade and work to the F. We select F2 and type in the nested if function. To save time, we'll just paste in the function and press enter. We can see the completed syntax in the formula box. Copy the nested function down to the remaining cells in column F using the fill handle. If you want to see the full breakdown of nested if functions, then take a look at our detailed tutorial on nested if functions. Okay, so those results look good. You now have a basic insight into building and using nested functions. If you need to edit any of your function syntax, then like with formulas, you can edit them in the cell or in the formula box. Double click into cell E2 and edit the syntax there, or select E3 and click into the formula box to edit it from there. Again, like with formulas, Excel color codes all the different arguments in a function. If we click into E2, we can see this. Or you can just select E3 and click into the formula box. This makes it easier for you to select the correct cells when you're building your functions manually, and it also makes it easier to debug errors in them later on. Again, like with formulas, if you want to show your function syntax in your worksheet cells rather than the values, then you can. To do this, click on the Formulas ribbon tab, and on the Formula Auditing panel, click on the Show Formulas command. Your syntax is now shown. Click it again to return to showing the values in your worksheet cells. Okay, so that rounds off this tutorial on Excel functions for beginners. I really hope this video has given you a solid foundation in functions, and you now have the understanding and confidence to build and use functions correctly. If you want to learn about specific Excel functions, then take a look at our individual function tutorials where we dissect and go into detail about each one. If you found this video helpful, then please hit the like button below this video. If you would like us to make any specific Excel videos, then let us know in the comments below. If you're interested in seeing more Excel videos from Brainify Tech, then please subscribe to our channel below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.